Have you ever wished you could see your future? What if you found a magic mirror that showed you exactly what would happen? Today, we're diving into a story about a young man who got that very chance, and what he learned will change the way you think about success forever. This is the tale of Aalizil and the Mirror of Choices. In a village nestled between rolling hills and quiet streams, lived a young man named Aalizil. He wasn't just any young man. Aalizil was brilliant. His mind was as sharp as a newly forged blade, and his ambition burned brighter than the midday sun. Everyone in the village saw his potential. They'd watch him solve complex problems with ease, or devise clever new ways to improve their daily lives. That Aalizil, they'd say, he's destined for greatness. But along with their admiration came a quiet worry. Aalizil was impatient. He wanted success, and he wanted it now. He saw the slow, steady path of hard work and collaboration as a detour, a waste of his precious time. He believed his own talent was enough, that he could conquer the world all by himself. Friendly advice from the village elders was often met with a polite but dismissive smile. He was a lone wolf, convinced he was faster on his own. One evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of purple and orange, Aalizil's restless spirit led him away from the familiar paths of his village. He wandered into an ancient forest that bordered their lands, a place whispered about in local legends. But this wasn't just any forest. It was a place of pure magic. Imagine towering trees whose bark pulsed with a soft, ethereal glow. Luminous fungi cast a gentle light on the mossy ground, and shimmering fireflies danced in the air like floating diamonds. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and night-blooming flowers. It was a scene straight out of a dream, a world untouched by time. As Aalizil ventured deeper, his skepticism battling with a growing sense of wonder, he came to a small clearing, and there, standing impossibly on its own, was a mirror. It was large and ornate, its frame carved with intricate patterns that seemed to shift and swirl. The surface wasn't like normal glass. It shimmered with a life of its own, swirling with colors that weren't quite real. It didn't reflect the glowing trees or the curious young man standing before it. Instead, it showed something else entirely. It showed him visions of the future. His future, drawn by an irresistible curiosity. Aalizil stepped closer. The first image that solidified in the shimmering glass was breathtaking. He saw himself dressed in the finest silks, surrounded by mountains of gold and jewels. He was in a grand palace, the master of unimaginable wealth. He had everything he had ever dreamed of, every material possession he could desire. But as the image panned out, he saw that the grand halls were empty. There was no laughter, no companionship. He was utterly and completely alone, a king in a silent, gilded cage. The look on his future self's face was not one of triumph, but of deep, hollow loneliness. The image dissolved, and a new one took its place. This time, he saw himself in the village square, surrounded by people. They looked at him with admiration and respect. He was a leader, a wise man whose words were valued. But his clothes were simple, his hands were calloused, and his home, visible in the background, was modest. He had the respect of his community, but he was struggling financially. He had sacrificed personal gain for the good of others, and while he was loved, he was not prosperous. Confused and shaken, Aalizil reached out a trembling hand and touched the mirror's cool surface. The moment his fingers made contact, a soft, resonant voice echoed in his mind, seeming to come from the mirror itself, from the trees, from the very air around him. "Your future is not set in stone, Aalizil," the voice whispered. "It is a river with many currents, and you are the one who steers the boat. Your future depends on the choices you make today." The mirror then began to show him not distant futures, but moments from his past, replayed with a new, painful clarity. He saw the time an old farmer asked for help designing a more efficient irrigation system. Inte memoria, Aalizil had waved him off, too busy with his own important projects. The mirror then showed him the consequence. The farmer's crops withered that season, and the community had less to eat. Another vision showed a group of friends inviting him to help them build a new bridge. He had declined, believing his time was better spent studying alone. The mirror showed the bridge collapsing a few months later because of a design flaw he could have easily spotted. But it also showed him other moments, moments of kindness. He saw the time he had instinctively helped a child who had fallen, and the grateful smile of her parents. He saw how sharing a small piece of his knowledge with a fellow artisan had led to a beautiful creation that brought joy to the entire village. With each vision, the lesson became clearer. His pride had built walls, while his kindness had built bridges. Aalizil stumbled back from the mirror, his heart pounding. The forest no longer seemed magical. It felt like a sacred place of truth. He spent the rest of the night sitting there, replaying the visions in his mind. The wealth, the respect, the loneliness, the struggle, it all came down to choices. Not big, life-altering decisions, but the small, everyday onus. The choice to help or to ignore, the choice to listen or to dismiss, the choice to work together or to walk alone. He returned to the village the next morning as the sun was rising, a changed man. The arrogance in his stride was gone, replaced by a thoughtful humility. And as if the universe wanted to test his newfound resolve, a challenge presented itself almost immediately. A neighbor, a kind woman named Aalizil, ran up to him in a panic. The village's main water channel, a vital system that brought water from the mountain stream, had broken. A rock slide had damaged a crucial section, and the village's water supply was cut off. Normally, this would be a problem for the community to solve. The old Aalizil would have seen it as a distraction, a problem for others to handle while he pursued his own ambitions. He would have offered a quick, theoretical solution, and then walked away. But this was the new Aalizil. He looked at Aalizil's worried face, saw the concern of the other villagers gathering around, and remembered the mirror. He remembered the lonely king in the empty palace. He took a deep breath and said, "I will help. Let's go look at it together." The villagers were stunned, but pleased. Aalizil didn't just give orders. He waded into the muddy water with everyone else. He listened to the ideas of the farmers who knew the land and the builders who knew the stone. He combined their practical knowledge with his own sharp mind for engineering. He didn't just command. He collaborated. He learned the value of teamwork firsthand, feeling the camaraderie and shared purpose. It was hard, dirty work. But when they finally diverted the water and repaired the channel, the cheer that erupted from the villagers was more rewarding than any gold he had imagined. He hadn't just fixed a water system. He had earned trust. He had become a part of something bigger than himself. From that day on, Aalizil lived differently. He didn't abandon his ambition, not at all. He still worked hard and pushed himself to innovate, but he tempered his ambition with humility. He sought out the wisdom of the elders, worked alongside his peers, and shared his successes with the community. He realized that lifting others up didn't diminish his own light. It made the whole village shine brighter. Over the years, he did achieve great success. He became wealthy, yes, but not through solitary pursuit. His clever inventions and community projects brought prosperity to everyone. He also became respected, not just for his mind, but for his character. He was a leader who listened, a genius who was also a friend. He found the balance he'd seen as impossible in the mirror. He had both wealth and respect, because he was never alone. Aalizil never saw the mysterious mirror in the forest again. He sometimes wondered if it was ever really there, or if it was just a dream, a figment of his imagination. But it didn't matter. The lesson was real, and it was etched into his soul forever. True and lasting success isn't just about what you can achieve on your own. It's about the wise choices you make, the kindness you show, and the respect you give to the people who walk the path alongside you. What do you think? What choices are you making today that will shape your tomorrow? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss our next video. See you next time.